How'd you feel about Ronnie's look in 2003? Was it when you saw him,
I
you like, holy shit, or
backstage, I was confident for what I went in that show. I said, I'm going to win the Mr. Olympia.
yeah,
I had already won everything that year. Won the Arnold,
Arnold's,
I won all the Grand Prix. I won the Ironman that year. I was the biggest thing in bodybuilding at that point, like coming up strong, and I was getting better. And Coleman shows up and takes his clothes off backstage, and I just said, "Oh shit." I said, "Oh shit."
But Ronnie, you can see him talking to me, and he says, "You won, you beat me." So I was like, "Oh shit, what am I gonna do?" You know, because he was going for record number 9.
Oh, here comes the enemy, Ronnie Coleman. This is the Ronnie Coleman right here. You ready?
Big J, I'm finna suit up. It's a surprise. Ready to do it again?
Throughout the decades of bodybuilding since the golden era till now, athletes have at least encountered a rivalry during their bodybuilding journey. Like Sergio Oliver and Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mike Manser and Arnold Schwarzenegger, Dorian Yates and Lee Haney, Phil Heath and Kai Green, and the most iconic rivalry, Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler. The Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler rivalry stands out as one of the best anticipating competitions in bodybuilding history, whereby two mass giants go at it during the peak era of bodybuilding. Despite Ronnie Coleman winning 8 Mr. Olympias in a row and beating Jay Cutler in that row, this rivalry still has loads of eyeball onto it, as fans weren't only just curious about Ronnie, but also Jay, being that he had his own massive fan base and impressive physique which stood against Ronnie Coleman, making that competition very anticipating, as one of them out of the two bodybuilders could win the Mr. Olympia during that time. Eventually, Jay Cutler would beat Ronnie Coleman in the 06 Mr. Olympia, but this beating had become one of the most controversial topics on whether Jay Cutler beating Ronnie Coleman or Ronnie Coleman was just getting older and no more in his prime. In this video, we'll be discussing the full rivalry of Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler, whether Jay actually beat Ronnie fair and square, and overall evaluating if Ronnie Coleman could be the best bodybuilder in history. So stay tuned, grab your protein pancakes, like, comment and subscribe. Join the Titan Physique membership for exclusive in-depth detailed content and cool stickers just for you. Before diving into the history making of the two iconic competitors, we have to reverse back to where their journey actually started and the beauty of their origins, starting with Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman was born in May 13, 1964 in Monroe, Louisiana. Grew up playing football during high school as a middle linebacker with the Grambling Tigers, coached by Hall of Famer Eddie Robinson. His mom was Jessie Coleman, who had a good body structure and bone density, which played a huge role in Ronnie Coleman's god-tier genetics.
This is why I'm the winner, right here.
Ronnie Coleman, after graduating, he had failed to be employed as a full-time accountant and went on to find a job at Domino's Pizza, where pizza would be his source of food due to unavailability of financial funds. Ronnie Coleman later found a job which he was very passionate about, and that was being a police officer.
It's going to be an original report. Reported date 9/13/2000. Status: arrested. Nature of the call is assault bodily injury.
Ronnie would dominate the Palooza Academy with his intimidation, as he had a decent natural build, being that Ronnie had god-tier genetics and participated in weightlifting and powerlifting meets during his school, which contributed to his golden foundation. One day, Ronnie Coleman would run into a man named Brian, who was an associate of Metroflex Gym, and tried to convince Ronnie to fully join the gym and start dieting, being how impressive his physique looked even without diet and consistent training. Ronnie wasn't actually willing to take his word, but once Brian Dobson mentioned offering a free membership, Ronnie Coleman instantly joined. Ronnie then began winning shows like the Mr. Texas 1990 and placing relatively good in other shows.
Did you ever in your mind envision that you would be Mr. Olympia one day? Be honest.
I never thought in a million years I would win Mr. Lee. But like I said, I was having a lot of fun doing what I was doing. I was enjoying doing what I was doing. And I was doing it for the love of doing it. I really wasn't doing it to be Mr. Olympia because I didn't actually think that was a goal that I could achieve. And I tell people ask me how I got into the sport. I just told them, the guy told me give me a free membership to the gym because I never wanted to do bodybuilding because I was having so much fun working for the police department. And then, that's a job in itself, and that's a chore in itself. So I was mainly focused on working every single day.
As Ronnie Coleman kept dominating the bodybuilding scene after Doreen's retirement, in 1998, the Night of Champions would be the year Ronnie Coleman would face another obstacle in the road to Olympia, which was Jay Cutler, a competitor debuting in his first pro show ever. Jason Isaac Cutler was born in August 3, 1973, but Jay Cutler would work for his brother in a concrete construction business called the Cutler Brothers, and Jay would find inspiration in bodybuilding through famous action movie actors like Van Damme, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Sylvester Stallone physiques, leading to a devotion in bodybuilding training at the age of 18. One of Jay's personal trainer, Marcos Rodriguez, considered Jay to start competing in local shows, which Jay easily dominated and saw potential. As Jay kept climbing the ranks, as he would compete in his first Mr. Olympia in 1999, placing 14th, and Ronnie placing 1st. Jay Cutler every year would consistently make improvements to his physique, which would alert Ronnie Coleman on the possible obstacle he would have to face, as Jay went from 14th place to 8th place at the Mr. Olympia 2000. The Mr. Olympia 2001 would be the year Jay showed up with great fullness and condition, ready to take on the mass monster Ronnie Coleman. But one issue in that Mr. Olympia was that Ronnie Coleman was extremely dehydrated and sick from trying to peak his body twice that year. Ronnie Coleman couldn't get out of bed that day and was considering rushing to the hospital and calling off the Olympia. But Ronnie called his nutritionist and explained his current condition and told Ronnie to just drink a gallon of water, which indeed helped him a lot, but this would make Ronnie's physique look watery, which set him back during the prejudging. But before the finals, Ronnie's nutritionist landed him a special medication to help flush out all the water in his system within 2 hours, which did help Ronnie Coleman get a little bit drier. But Ronnie Coleman eventually won the Mr. Olympia 01 by luck, arguably with Jay placing second at the verge of beating Ronnie. But despite Ronnie being bloated as fuck, Jay Cutler had no match for Ronnie Coleman's, back, because Jay Cutler ensured that he improved his front position and trying to make Ronnie Coleman's front position reveal all his weak points. But either ways, that being a little successful, that couldn't defeat the size and condition and the width of Ronnie Coleman's back.
had that episode that morning where, you know, I pretty much dehydrated, like totally too dehydrated to the point where I couldn't get out of bed. So it was mostly a thing of me just recovering that whole process, through that whole process. So to overcome all of that and come out and win, it was a major upset for me, because in my mind, I was going to the hospital that morning. I didn't give a damn about no show. I was thinking about, trying to stay alive at that point. So the show was, it was like second fiddle. I wasn't worried about the show. I was worried about my life.
So what shots do you feel, because I was at that Olympia, the 2001, and I think some of the front shots, because Ronnie was holding a bit of water at the pre-judging, I think you had a couple of front shots, but then obviously at the back shots, Ronnie, clearly took them. What was your thoughts on how evenly matched you were at that show?
Yeah, I think, listen, Ronnie was bigger, there's no question. He was definitely more matured, and he was Mr. Olympia, so I just had a lot of detail that I hadn't had before. My shoulder width is always great, but from the front I was pretty dominant in the abs and the thighs, and where I felt he was a little washed out. And to correct Ronnie, he didn't look bad. He just he wasn't at his all-time best that he had been in the past, and I think that's where it comes in, and people notice that improvement. The eyes were on me just because of the improvements alone, and I did have some outstanding body parts that maybe he weren't as sharp in from the front side, but there's no question. I battled my whole career to fight Ronnie from the back side. I don't think anyone's ever been that dominant from the back, still to this day. So for me, it was just about showcasing what I could to really show what flaws he might have had at that front position.
At the O2, Mr. Olympia arrives, and Jay Cutler couldn't compete due to business real estate complications, and that he already won the Arnold Classic that year, and bro was just chilling, bro was laying back. But Ronnie showed up not looking the best as usual, as he had took the judge's word last year that he should show up in the O2 more tighter and a little bit flat, which was quite odd to hear a judge tell you to look more flat the next time I see you. But that didn't really end well, and Ronnie Coleman would be extremely mistaken, and Jay Cutler would be disappointed that he saw a chance to actually defeat Ronnie Coleman, because Jay was at his all-time good best condition, and the time where Jay took a time off that one Mr. Olympia, Ronnie Coleman was open for destruction.
Do you regret not doing the 2002 with Mr. Olympia?
It's easy for me now, 19 years later, to say, yeah, I regret it. But listen, too many variables. At the time I was moving, and it was never I lost in 2001 and I feel I should have won, that people might think it is. I moved to Vegas. I built a home after I won the Arnold in 2002, and I was in the midst of trying to settle in a new place, and I had just signed a pretty solid endorsement deal with a company, and I was doing the real estate stuff. So for me, it just made more financial sense to focus on business, and I had just won the Arnold, and I said, you know what, I'm still riding high. So I didn't compete. Ronnie still won that year, but he wasn't as big as he had been in the past, which might have been an advantage to me. But listen, we don't know how I would have showed up. So.
03 Mr. Olympia Jay Cutler would be very confident to compete, believing he would beat Ronnie Coleman this time, as his physique kept downgrading since 01, and gone through the slower camp, beating Ronnie at 02 after the Mr. Olympia. But oh boy, Jay Cutler, man, bro was truly mistaken, what I'm saying? But Ronnie Coleman showed up his all-time biggest and conditioned, which was basically him in his all-time prime. Jay Cutler couldn't believe his eyes. Bro literally soiled his pants and sought to probably quit bodybuilding after seeing Ronnie Coleman look like, but Ronnie eventually won the show with Jay Cutler placing second place, which sparked loads of anticipation amongst fans on if Jay Cutler could potentially beat Ronnie Coleman.
How'd you feel about Ronnie's look in 2003? Was it when you saw him, you like, holy shit? Or
backstage, I was confident. When I went in that show, I said, I'm going to win the Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
I had already won everything that year. I won the Arnold, all the Grand Prix. I won the Ironman that year. I was the biggest thing in bodybuilding at that point, like coming up strong, and I was getting better. And Coleman shows up and takes his clothes off backstage, and I just said, oh, shit. I said, oh, shit.
Really? The great Jay Cutler, you said, oh, shit, you knew it.
But 04 arrives, and their Mr. Olympia press conference turns out to become a whole gang shootout, with math giants like Gunther Schlorkamp claiming he could literally wipe out both Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler, which was an overall crazy Olympia lineup, being that we also had Marcus Rule in the lineup. But Ronnie had then won the 04 and the 05 Mr. Olympia, with Jay Cutler still placing second in both years, right at Ronnie Coleman's tail. And this wasn't like a typical Kevin Levrone, I've been robbed robbery. This was just this guy is actually big as fuck. I need to really conquer this guy.
One time in my life I felt that. What was my purpose?
But overall, every Olympia after the 03, Ronnie just kept downgrading and fighting to ensure his physique is top notch to beat his biggest competitor, Jay Cutler. But sadly, 06, Ronnie Coleman would lose to Jay Cutler, which in my opinion was a fair loss, as Ronnie was surely losing his ability to obtain the condition he once had due to age reasons, meaning that Jay Cutler never actually beat Ronnie Coleman as he was at a disadvantage.
And it gave me more time when I wasn't training for 2 competitions to focus on solely one. It only took me 1 year before I actually ended up winning. And Ronnie was getting older, let's be real about it. I mean, he's 10 years older than me. I was the younger guy coming in, and it gets harder as you get older. I mean, once you get over 40, it's difficult. I retired at 40. I mean, he was going well, and he was winning Olympias when, I think your last was, 43 when you won, I think. So the last
one I won, I was 41. So 43, I was still competing. But like you said, the older you get, the harder it gets.
Ronnie Coleman told me I won. You remember that, Ron?
Yeah, I remember like it was yesterday.
So we're standing on stage, and they're starting to talk about first and second, whatever. They haven't given out the awards, but Ronnie, you can see him talking to me, and he says, "You won, you beat me." So I was like, "Oh shit, what am I gonna do?" Because he was going for record number 9. And I was going to win my first. So at the moment, I was super excited because I was confident. I felt like I was going to win. But to have him tell me, it was kind of like, I want to make sure I raise his hand more than enjoy my victory. And if you notice, when I win, Gustavo Bedell runs and jumps on me and hugs me. And then I raise Ronnie's hand. So, and my excitement was like more, hey, I finally won, but damn, it took a long time to get here. A lot of second places to him. So it was a lot of relief, excitement, and then respect to the guy that, pushed me to get to that level.
But overall, guys, man, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, man. Man, even if you have a little bit of cash, throw some cash in the comments, okay? I'm living up the back rooms right now because I cannot pay my bills due to spending all my life investment in protein shakes. Join the army, join the membership. If you cannot find the join button, look at the desktop site on your browser. No incognito. Peace.
Bye, have a great time.